5 years ago in 2020, the world stood still. Yeah, bit of a weird year. And without football on for the last 6 months, some people were on Warzone and others were breaking 5k running world records. So with all of that surplus free time, the internet had their best guess at who would make up the best footballing 11 in 5 years' time. So today, 5 years later, yes, 5 years since COVID. That is horrifying. We'll be playing Team of the Year bingo with their Team of the Year predictions from 2020 against the 11 players who made up the FIFA Pro XI this year to see just how difficult it is to predict the best players in the world. This will give us an insight into whether the best players today were around 5 years ago and how young can you be to actually make this list. Let's get into this. In goal, we have Andre Onana. 5 years ago, that didn't even seem like a bad shout. Starting for Ajax in goal, Ajax had the maddest run in the Champions League the year before. Didn't even seem that crazy. Even when he was at Inter Milan, he seemed solid. I would have taken him at Chelsea instead of Poppadom Hans Kepa at the time. But it's Man United again, which are making players look bad. If Antony now looks like the best player in La Liga, Onana certainly will go back to being a good keeper when he leaves Manchester United. But in reality, the goalkeeper in the World 11 this year was Ederson. Ederson has been playing for City for the past 6 or 7 years, but I really don't think Onana is a crazy shout. At right back, they predicted Trent. That's not even that crazy. Trent had just won the Champions League the year before, and in reality, we have Dani Carvajal. Dani Carvajal coming like, what, top 5 in the Ballon d'Or this year? It's a bit of a Jorginho pick, like player who like slyly turned up in the final, man of the match in the final goal. He was a monster making that block against Adeyemi. Gone under the radar for the past few years, but has turned up when it mattered most. In the Champions League, in the Euros with Spain, obviously. But having Trent there as the prediction isn't too bad. The centre-back pairing we have is De Ligt and Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk had literally just come second to Lionel Messi in the Ballon d'Or in 2019, whilst De Ligt, who had just shocked the world with Ajax, seemed like he was going to be one of the best centre-backs in the world, and probably is. He's a really solid centre-back, just as, again, is having a rough time at Manchester United. And this guy comments, how much are these people gonna overrate Van Dijk? Yes, he's been influential for Liverpool right now, but that influence and Liverpool being a strong team is just a fluke. Post-coronavirus, everything will come back to normal. Liverpool will become a mid-table team, as they were supposed to be, and Van Dijk will become Phil Jones, like he is supposed to. Well, Van Dijk is still probably the best centre-back in the world. It wasn't a fluke. You don't come second to Lionel Messi as a fluke. This guy was probably living under a rock. He was prime hate watching Van Dijk back in 2020. So Van Dijk is correctly on the list. De Ligt, on the other hand, isn't on the list. De Ligt has been replaced by Tony Rudiger, who since 2021, since winning the Champions League, is probably top 5 centre-backs in the world. So he deserves to be there. Obviously won the Champions League with Real Madrid the year before. De Ligt, after not particularly doing wonders at Juventus, then went to Bayern Munich and didn't really do too well there, and then killed his career to go into Manchester United. It's got to be pretty clear right now, going to United is the worst idea a player can do right now, as of right now. Everyone who comes destroys their career, everyone who leaves seems to do well again, so they seem like the problem. But I don't doubt that De Ligt, a proper centre-back, I wish he actually came to Chelsea rather than United. He would have been perfect in that backline right now. So it kind of messes the formation up, because they had predicted Alphonso Davies to be the left back in the World XI, and the World XI this year is a 3-2-2-3 formation. Yeah, never heard of that one before. I mean, not quite as crazy as Alan Shearer's Team of the Week formation. Not really sure what's going on there, but 3-2-2-3, we'll let it slide. Alphonso Davies isn't a crazy shout. Moving on to midfield. Now, this midfield is crazy. The internet in 2020 predicted that the World XI 11 midfield would be made up of Sandro Tonali, Donny van de Beek, and Jack Grealish. Those would be the 3 best midfielders in the world in 2025. I mean, it's not crazy, but they've all got their own like memed narrative in the past 5 years, and for them to make up the 3 in midfield is wild. Sandro Tonali left his beloved AC Milan to join Newcastle. Solid team, great player. Had a whole betting scandal. Not quite the best defensive midfielder in the world. Partnered by Donny van de Beek. Literally looked like he was going to be this wonder midfielder after that Ajax run in 2019. But as soon as that team got picked apart, yeah, it hasn't quite happened for him. And then led in that midfield by Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish, the left winger for Man City. And in 2018-19-20, playing for Villa in that kind of central area, he's not really had the effect that we all kind of wanted him to have when he moved to Man City. He's kind of just become a pawn in Pep's system. Won the treble, done wonders, but team of the year worthy. When you compare that to a midfield of, now this is a 4, which is mental, but Kevin De Bruyne, not sure how he's kind of made it in this year. Obviously, cream of the crop midfielder, but did he have a great 2024? Not sure. Rodri, of course, the Ballon d'Or winner. No one really saw it coming, him becoming the best player in the world, but rightfully so. Rodri was a class act in 2024, and after the winning goal, winning them the treble in 2023, he has been one of the best players in the world for a couple of years now. Toni Kroos. Toni Kroos is another one who kind of disappeared for a few years, but was vital in that last Champions League campaign for Real Madrid, was basically the heart of that team, gelling the players together. We saw at the start of this season with the Real Madrid players not playing to the levels they were last season. They didn't have Toni Kroos in the team, and that was quite obvious. They've now gelled without him. And Jude Bellingham wasn't even around in 2020. He was still playing for Birmingham. Jude Bellingham is our first example of a player who wasn't in the top leagues in 2020, who is now in the World 11 in 2025. Every single player we've mentioned so far was playing for a top team in 2020, if not the best teams, in Real Madrid, Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool. Jude Bellingham was playing for Birmingham in 2020, so his rise has been nothing short of meteoric. So when we compare those 4 to Tonali, Donny van de Beek and Grealish, it's kind of laughable. I don't know, what do you guys think? And then we move up to the front 3. The front 3 was predicted as Jadon Sancho, who was balling out for Dortmund in 2020, Lautaro Martinez, who had been at Inter Milan for a couple of years, and to be fair, came 5th in the Ballon d'Or this year, so he's a worthy shout in the striker position, and Kylian Mbappe. He is the only player from 2020 that everyone has always predicted would be the best player in the world in 2025. And to be honest, he hasn't really dipped out for the past 5 years. So it was quite obvious Mbappe was going to be there. But Lautaro and Jadon Sancho, Lautaro is a fair enough shout. And if we actually go to the 3 that are named, we have Vinicius Jr., who in 2020 had just signed for Real Madrid, so he was known, but no one knew he was going to be as good as he was. Top 2 Ballon d'Or worthy this year. Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe, of course. So one of the front 3 was named in 2020. And to be fair, the comment section kind of slaughtered the idea of Lautaro being in Haaland's position. Haaland must be playing golf then? Haaland had obviously just been signed by Dortmund in 2020, and with 86 goals in 89 games at the club, it was fair to say that people knew he was going to be good. Even at Salzburg, he was rocking it in the Champions League. Everyone kind of thought he was going to go straight to a top team. That Dortmund kind of like stepping stone was needed in the end to like nurture his ability, but everyone kind of knew. From day dot, we all knew. When he was scoring like 9 in 10 in the Champions League for Salzburg and he was like top goal scorer, everyone knew. But Lautaro being the choice in 2020 isn't that wild, I don't think. Whereas Jadon Sancho over Vinicius, to be fair, Jadon Sancho was the best young prospect on the block, aside from Kylian Mbappe in 2020. Like, what he was doing at Dortmund was kind of incredible. England were rubbing their hands together in 2020 for that 2021 Euros, and he wasn't even selected for the Euros in the end. And he's now kicking it at Chelsea. I mean, I've literally got a Jadon Sancho shirt on. But to be fair, he's not really having the impact that everyone thought he would be 5 years later. Whether it's down to Man United's stint in that career or just his work rates and abilities, even at Chelsea, he started off well, but he's not that good. In reality, the World 11 XI that was actually the XI looks like a disgusting team. And if you compare that to the reality, which was predicted in 2020, yeah, it's not great. The defense is pretty strong and the attack is pretty strong, but goalkeepers and midfielders, yeah, very questionable. And to be fair, people were saying like Havertz will be better than Grealish. So Grealish was being doubted in that cam position. Not having Havertz is criminal. Easily going to be one of the best attacking midfielders in the next decade. Attacking midfielders, centre forward, shadow striker. We still don't fucking know. Trent will be playing in midfield by then. We're still having those shouts. Tried it in the summer in the Euros. Didn't really work under Southgate. Donny van de Beek over De Jong. What are you smoking? How is Virgil van Dijk still playing in 2025? To be fair, having Donny van de Beek over De Jong in 2020 is pretty wild. De Jong was clearly the better player in 2020, so I don't really know what trajectory this guy was smoking when he made this list, because De Jong really should be in there over Van de Beek. And how is Virgil still playing in 2025? The longevity is there. So overall, only 2 of the starting 11 in the World XI was predicted in 2020, which is pretty poor, I think. People were questioning a couple of players like Erling Haaland, who was in the list in 2025. The rest of the list was made up of players who were already top players at their clubs in 2020, never mind in 2025. So if I've learned anything from these prediction videos, best players in the world in 2030 are going to be players that are about 25 to 30 right now, and we know of. They're not going to be unknown. So let me know in the comments who your World 11 is in 2030, and you know, base it off what we've learned in today's video. Other than that, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Something a little bit different today. I hope you've enjoyed, and yeah, other than that, have a good one. Peace.